Sybil Ludington was born on April 5th, 1761, and died on February 26, 1839, at the age of 77. She was the oldest daughter of Henry and Abigail Ludington. She is most famous for her role in the American Revolution. On April 26, 1777, she rode more than 40 miles through the dangerous countryside to warn the patriots of the Hudson Valley that the British had burned Danbury, Connecticut, and the militia was needed to defend the land. Her father, Henry Ludington, was the colonel of the 7th Dutchess Militia Regiment. A rider had come from Danbury, Connecticut, with news that the British troops were burning Danbury, and Ludington must muster his regiment to immediately march to Connecticut. The messenger was exhausted from the ride, and he was unfamiliar with the area. The task would take all night, and Henry had to be ready to lead the troops to Connecticut in the morning. The responsibility of gathering the troops from around the countryside fell to Sybil, who had just turned 16. She was the eldest child and knew the route. Her parents must have been worried, but understood that Sybil was the best option. Sybil set out around 9 p.m. on her trusty horse Star, with full knowledge of the dangers that lay ahead. It was 40 miles on horseback on a rainy, cold spring night on dark, muddy trails. The Hudson Valley during the American Revolution was called the neutral ground, where plenty of loyalists lived who would want to capture Sybil. This area was also notorious for gangs of outlaws known as cowboys and skinners who would often prey on innocent civilians. Sybil put aside her fear and concentrated on the task. 243 years ago, Sybil will ride into history. She will be remembered for her courage and her commitment to the cause of liberty. Today, I will retrace her route to gain a better appreciation for her courageous act. I will make stops along the way to inform you so that you too will hopefully visit and be inspired. We are at the Ludington Mill site, and back in 1776 this was built as a grist mill and operated by Henry Ludington and his family. So this is the opening where the mill would have had a water wheel that would have turned the wheel. Then inside would be a grist mill here. So there was a stone, and neighboring farms would bring their corn and wheat and other grains to be milled down to the flour to be turned into breads, cakes, and cookies. All right, class, I'm on the foundations here, and this would have been the actual mill. Now, Sybil's house most likely was back here, and that is no longer with us because Route 84 cuts through here and has taken out any kind of remains of the Ludington house. So the mill does remain, and in fact, it was set to become a museum back in 1972, but then there was a mysterious fire that burnt it all down, so we're left with just the foundations here. Okay, so think back to 1777, and the British are nearby and they burnt down Danbury, Connecticut. They could be headed this way, and Henry Ludington decides to allow his daughter to round up the troops. He must have felt confidence in her ability to get the job done, and she was only 16. She had just turned 16, so now it's up to her to make stops along the way where Sybil may have visited and see what it was like 243 years later. So I just set the odometer to 0.0. According to legend, Sybil Ludington rode 40 miles through the night on a rainy night. So it's not nighttime yet, but it is raining. But thankfully I'm in the comfort of my car here, so it's going to be a lot easier than Sybil Ludington riding through the night on muddy trails. Lake Carmel is a man-made lake, so it would not have been there on Sybil's journey. So I've just driven 6.4 miles. Sybil Ludington rode past Lake Oneida. Back in her day, it was called Shaw's Pond. The village of Carmel was not called Carmel, but there was definitely houses here that Sybil would have alerted members of the militia to go and take up arms and head to the Ludington house. Hey class, I'm at the famous Sybil Ludington site, and this is the statue So this was put up to honor Sybil Ludington back in 1961. All right, we're gonna get back in the car and keep traveling on Sybils route. All right, so here's one of these blue signs, the Isaac Merrick, and he served in the 7th Dutchess County Regiment Militia. And after the war, he's going to purchase a farm right here. So this is an example of Sybil Ludington alerting militia members, such as Nathaniel Scribner and Company. And then the men would march towards the Ludington Mill. So I've driven 13.3 miles, and now I'm at Red Mills. And when I look up, there's the Sybil Ludington sign, so I know I'm still on the right track. Sybil was here on the night of April 26th. So this is the Red Mills site, and it's a grist and carding mill. So this is where, similar to the Ludington Mill, they would grind down corn and wheat and turn it into flour. All right, so at Red Mills, you'll see the log mansion sign. And if you look at it, it says it was built in 1760 for Mary Phillips and her husband, Roger Morris. And they were loyalists during the war. So this whole area was really divided between loyalists and patriots. Throughout the road trip, you'll see these Sybil Ludington Sybils Ride signs that kind of tell you where you are, whether you're on track, or where the red star is right there. Red Mills Park, another stop on this Sybil Ludington road trip. All right, so after Red Mills, Sybil is going to start heading north towards Kent Falls. All right, so this is probably another stop for Sybil Ludington because Charles Ager served in the Ludington Regiment. Selfie here. This is new for my collection, so by being on this Sybil Ludington road trip, I found the new site. So we're halfway there, 20-mile mark. These are the stone chambers. They're located in this area, and perhaps this is one where a bandit might be lurking. As Sybil's on her journey, she had to watch out for bandits known as either skinners or cowboys, and these were groups that might prey on civilians. Let's go check it out. Alright, so this is the insides of the stone chambers. So perhaps bandits were waiting here for Sybil. Ride by, not drive by. So Sybil's gonna have to deal with rain, cold, loyalists that try to capture her, and cowboys and skinners. It's kind of spooky. And this was here when Sybil Ludington made her ride. All right, so I made it safely outside. All right, so we're on 301 here, and we're gonna be going on towards Farmer Mills Road. All right, next stop is White Pond. This is in Kent. And another stop for Sybil along the way. Perhaps there's some farmhouses not too far from here that should alert to tell them the British have burnt Danbury and for them to muster at the Ludington Mill. Okay, so White Pond, another stop along the way for Sybil Ludington. We're at mile 34. So I'm back on Route 52, and I'm at mile 36, and I'm heading back towards Ludington Mill. Okay, so I'm back to where I started at 39.1 miles. So we'll round up and call it 40. Pretty good. All right, guys, we made it. Last stop. See the star there, and we're at the end of the journey here. So Sybil rode all through the night, and in the morning she found over 400 soldiers right here where the gas station is, and that's where the men were assembling on the parade ground. And it was all because of 16-year-old Sybil Ludington got on her horse and braved the rain, the cold, bandits, loyalists, and was able to successfully complete her mission. So next time you're going past Route 52, look for the gas station, and you'll see Gappy's Pizza also. So thanks for joining me, and remember, April 26th is Sybil Ludington Day, so make sure you say huzzah to Sybil Ludington.